Hey everyone, it's Giga back again with another replay and deck profile. Actually, we got two this time, and I'm bringing to you Agent Sprite. I said I would in the last video, and here it is. So for the two decks, I have one Agent Sprite list without Venus and one with Venus. I think the one without Venus is a little bit better, but it depends on the meta, I feel like. So for this first replay here, I have the list without Venus, and I want to shout out Kazaris. I'll link his video in the description because this list is heavily based off of his, although his was before the Hulk ban and TCG, but definitely took heavy inspiration from it. Let me know if there's any other uncommon Sprite variant you'd like to see on this channel. I have a bunch in the books, but it's definitely a struggle to make videos on all of them, so some will get their own video. Maybe I'll make a compilation video later, but yeah, feel free to request other variants like this one. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So this hand is mostly a Sprite hand rather than an Agent Sprite hand. You would usually want to draw Diviner or Earth, mostly Diviner. That is the main combo you want, is Diviner plus Blue or Jet. But we can still do some Agent things later, but for now we're going to rely on the Sprite stuff. We're also playing the Instant Fusion target. It's also a fairy, which helps out for some Agent things, so that's why I like to play it. Yeah, because we already had the Jet in hand, we can search out the red. And now for Gigantic Sprite, we're going to summon Diviner off of it. We already have the Trias, which I recommend sending first, always over Majesty. Because we already have it. Majesty is what we're going to send. So we're just making a standard Sprite board here, nothing special. I shotgun the Sprite start. I probably shouldn't do that to play around Dark Ruler no more. But having Carry Up is nice because it plays around stuff like Lightning Storm / Regeki or whatever. I don't know, it's kind of like 50-50 there. My opponent is on Runic Sprite. They're going to start out by doing some Runic things. I probably play this a little bit suboptimally. Here, I'm going to shotgun the Sprite Elf, summon back Diviner, which is something I love. This interaction between Sprite and Agent / Diviner. You can use it for an interruption on their turn. I probably should have saved it for later, but I figured getting a 2 off their field was good, although I decided not to try to negate the field spell here, let them have it. Definitely could have played this better. I guess I just like to show off me lubbering around. So I'm going to negate their Sprite Blue with Sprite Red here. They're going to Hugin to protect. They're going to go for Gigantic Sprite here, and then before they activate the effect, I'm going to go for Nightmare Unicorn. Oh, also, the reason why I just randomly Trias there is just to get another 2 on board. I figured I should do that. Unfortunately, they did have another Runic Fountain, and they're going to be able to recycle 3 spells here. And then get a draw for Viperia, and then they're going to get a triple tactics talent, which I don't know why they didn't draw 2, and they still Unicorn of all things. It seemed very strange to me. So, a bit of spaghetti in this game in general. Alright, but I feel pretty good because I know that they're going to have to skip their battle phase, and I'm left with a bunch of 2s on board. I draw an Earth for turn, which is perfect. Figured I should just red, because why not? I don't need the second Earth on board. I'm going to get the effect still. They're going to try to get some more Runic cards going. So here I had a bit of a brain fart moment. Again, I guess I just like showing me have some terrible gameplay. But well, first I'm going to Neptune back. And then they're going to Runic's Smiting Storm and then Chain Freezing Curse. Targeting Carrot. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to use Carrot here. I just lost a body for no reason. But it ends up not mattering really at all. I think in my head, for some reason, I thought, oh, if I stop the Freezing Curse, I'll stop the field spell. But no, that's not how that works. Alright, so we're going to take Earth and Carrot and make Elf. Gonna use Elf to bring back blue. Picker blue. grab Jet, summon Jet, trigger Jet, grab Sprite Smashers. So at this point, I'm like getting all my pluses back. And this is where the deck really shines, is in this like grind game, is you can just like easily make these powerful level 10 synchros, which is definitely something the Sprite archetype kind of lacks. It lacks the oomph. So I was going to pop the field spell. I didn't have enough for game here, but my opponent just kind of sees the writing on the wall. Barone in that position was very, very good for me, so they end up just scooping there. Alrighty, so we're here with the second replay, and this is the build that I made with Venus. I don't know if it's better or not. I'm going to lean towards not, but I figured I should still show it off to you guys. I think it's still a cool way to play the deck. And also, it's one of the only decks you can play where drawing Shine Balls isn't that bad, because you can always use it as part of a Sprite combo. I figured there isn't many decks you can actually do that with, and I wanted to try that out. But anyway, right here you'll see I've drawn the Diviner and Blue combo, and it works a bit differently in the Venus version than it does in the Venus List version. I'll try to point out a little bit of the differences here, but without further ado, let's jump into it. Here we're going to normal summon Diviner. We're going to send Trios. Trios effect activate. Tribute Diviner, summon Trios. Diviner is going to summon DD Sprite. So in the Venus List build, you would summon a level 2 fairy. I usually choose Earth, but it can be any level 2 fairy. And you don't have to play like a brick or anything for it. You can just use Earth since you're already playing Earth in the Venus List build. And then from there, you can do your Sprite stuff. It's a little bit different. So basically, you're making Master Flare with Earth and Majesty Hyperion instead of making Master Flare with the DD Sprite and Trios here. Alright, so here we're going into Master Flare. And here you're going to notice the key difference. Off of Master Flare here, we're going to send Venus and start using Shine Balls for Sprite stuff. Shine Balls are level 2. Sprites are level 2. Or they like level 2s, so that's the synergy here. We're going to continue to do our Sprite stuff. And then we're going to send our Shine Balls, link them off for Moon. Moon is going to send Majesty. And then we can overlay, or actually, no, actually even use Gigantic Sprite in this line. We just go straight into Elf. No need to lock ourselves. So basically, the key difference here is the combo with Venus Sprite is that you're ending on 2 level 10 synchros, whereas the other one just ends on Majesty, but you can use Majesty to search the trap card. So that's the key difference here. And here you'll kind of see why I think maybe the other version is a little bit better, is that it resists things like Forbidden Droplet or Dark Ruler No More a bit, because you can have the trap for interruption. Although I do kind of shotgun the Sprite starter. Again, I probably should have just kept that at hand. I had so much on board anyway. I should have waited for something like Dark Ruler or something and then use Sprite starter. I just love to show my suboptimal gameplay. Speaking of suboptimal gameplay, here is where I make another pretty fatal mistake. Well, first I purposefully clear my board so I can use Sprite Elf because they did not droplet my Sprite Elf. Here I wanted to summon the Diviner and then pop the Vision Hero Increase before it could special summon itself, but I messed up, and then this is going to lead to me losing the game because I'm like, oh, I'll just wait for them to, you know, commit to something, but then they just go into Absolute Zero, and then at that point it doesn't matter what I do. Like, yeah, they're just gonna link off Absolute Zero, wipe my board, and then kill me. So another thing about Venus Sprite is you'll notice my life is pretty low because I had to use the Venus and the starter. So you do lose a bit of extra life here. I chain Sprite Alpha, that doesn't do anything here. Diviner's not going to trigger. But I did want to show off the board you can make. Even though I choked to this game pretty badly, I could have pretty easily won this. I guess I just like to show off my losses too. Anyway, I do think that it was a good showcase for what kind of board the Venus version of the deck can produce. Alrighty, so here is the deck list without Venus, just regular Agent Sprite. And we're going to go into the card by card, some of my choices, some potential things I was thinking of changing. You know the drill by now. So first up, we got 2 Neptune. This is our search target off our 3 Earth. So Earth, when its normal summon searches any agent monster. So that target is going to be Neptune. I don't love this at 2. It can be a little bricky. You could definitely play just one copy if you wanted to. I'm not really sure on that. Alrighty, so we're on triple max C. God, why is this card still in the game? I'm going to keep saying it until it's not true. We're on triple Diviner of the Heralds. This card is insane, but there are some weaknesses of it. If your opponent is pretty smart, I've had some games where I just normal summon Diviner. I can see they have an interruption. They don't. I send Trios. And then I use Trios to tribute Diviner. And then if they save the Ash for the summon off of Diviner, you can be kind of screwed unless you drew Instant Fusion or Ready Fusion or Sprite Starter, because then you have no way of getting level 2 on the field, and that can be kind of scary. But the interactions with this card and Sprite Elf are insane. Just being able to constantly Foolish Burial Fairies or use it to mill Natis and pop a card on your opponent's turn is really good. Anyway, we're on 3 Sprite Blue. This Sprite searches any Sprite monster when it's special summon and can summon itself when there's a level 2. Sprite Jet does the same thing, but searches a Sprite Spell Trap. I'm on 1 Pixies. I think this is pretty cuttable, actually. I might just cut this, but I do like it for clearing unaffected monsters. I either like to usually play Pixies or I like to have Goddess on the extra. I'm on 1 Sprite Red. It's the monster negate for Sprite. I'm on 1 Sprite Carrot. It's the spell Trap negate for Sprite. I'm on triple Ash Blossom, part of the Master Duel attacks. On 1 Majesty Hyperion, this lets us get easy access to level 10 synchros, so very good card overall. Amazing for grinding, can keep summoning him back, and his effect isn't that bad either. He can banish a fairy to banish any card from either graveyard. On 1 Trias for the Diviner combo, as you saw. We are on 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, just catch-all for back row decks. We're on 1 Instant Fusion. It is a level 2 extender, which I find this deck does need a bit. I'm on triple Dark Ruler no more. This card is pretty insane against any other Sprite deck, so I like it for that, or just any combo deck that builds a powerful board. I'm on 1 Pot of Prosperity. I don't love it in this deck. The extra deck is kind of tight, so banishing 6 is sometimes not really doable, but even banishing 3 can be pretty helpful. I'm on 1 Ready Fusion, basically an extra copy of Instant Fusion. I am on triple Sacred Waters in the Sky. This searches Earth. On double Call by the Grave, part of the Master's attacks. Double Sprite Starter, special summon the Sprite monster from deck. Locks you into 2s though, so lock is something you need to be pretty mindful of. You want to summon your level 10s first, and then do your Sprite lock. 1 Sprite Smashers, this card is insane, and then 1 Fallen Sanctuary, which is our search target off of the Parshath / Master Flare Hyperion combo. Essentially free monster negate, and it also searches Sacred Waters in the Sky for even more advantage and follow up. Alright, that's it for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra. We're on 1 Alvain as our instant / Ready Fusion target. 1 Natis to send off of Diviner as an interruption on our opponent's turn. On 1 Baron, this card is insane. Just an amazing level 10 synchro you can summon generically. On Master Flare Hyperion, this isn't generic, but usually we can access it no problem. And we're going to be using it to get access to Fallen Sanctuary, but it also has a decent disruption effect too, where if your opponent activates a card effect, you can banish a fairy to banish a card on your opponent's field, so that's pretty good. We're on 1 Onibimaru Soul Sweeper, pretty standard for any Sprite list. It removes a monster from play for 1 turn. On 1 Gigantic Sprite, and 2, it's hard to fit in things in the extra deck in general. I don't know, you could try to make room for 2, but I find 1 is fine usually. Or I'm 1 Dire Magician for the Zeus package. Zeus is just pretty crazy going second, so having access to this I think is worth the extra deck space. We're on 1 Salamangreat Almirage, so this is for some weird hands with Earth. So if you draw just Earth, you can normal summon Earth, search Neptune, go into Almirage, Neptune back Earth, summon Sprite Elf, Elf summon back Earth, and then you can make Gigantic Sprite and do this normal Sprite combo from there. So that's something you can do in a pinch. We're on 1 IP Masquerena, pretty standard for any Sprite list. Usually we're going to use it to summon Nightmare Unicorn. We're on 1 Protector of the Agent's Moon. I do like playing this card to send Master Flare Hyperion, but you could argue maybe not to, but I think it's generically pretty good anyway. You can even just make it for a pop if you have to. And it's a link too, so it can be used for Sprite stuff, so I do like it in this deck. We're on 2 Sprite Elf. Again, room is an issue, otherwise I might consider 3. I'm sure everyone knows how insane this card is. Provides targeting protection. I love summoning like Master Flare Baron under an arrow and give it extra protection. It's just crazy. One Nightmare Unicorn is summoned off of IP as mentioned, and then finally we have the one Parsheth to send off of Hyperion so we can search Fallen Sanctuary. Alright, so let's jump into the Venus list real quick. Here's the Agent Venus Sprite list. A lot of it is similar to the Agent Sprite list I just showed. I'll just point out the things that are different. I'll still hover over all the cards to make sure everyone can see what all the cards are, but other than that, I think everyone kind of knows the purpose of these cards are. We're on triple Mystical Shine Ball, 1 DD Sprite, 3 Max C, 1 Cap Shell. The reason why I'm playing Cap Shell is it is a small world bridge to get to Diviner, which is more important in this build since we don't have Earth. Triple Diviner, triple Sprite Blue, triple Sprite Jet, 1 Sprite Red, 1 Sprite Carrot, double Venus. I don't like this as a normal because if it gets stopped, then you might be sitting duck unless you have a level 2 extender, but if you can trigger it, you're off to the races still. Triple Ash Blossom, 1 Majesty Hyperion, 1 Trias, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Instant Fusion, triple Dark Ruler no more, 1 Pot of Prosperity, 1 Ready Fusion, 2 Small World. As mentioned, we want Diviner more. 2 Called by the Grave, 1 Crossout. In this deck, I opted to switch out Pixies for Crossout and then put Goddess in the extra. This deck I felt like had a little bit more space in the extra than the other build. We are on 2 Sprite Starter and 1 Sprite Smashers. For the extra deck, we're on 1 Alvain, 1 Natis, 1 Barone, 1 Chengying, 1 Master Flare, 1 Onibimaru, 1 Gigantic Sprite, 1 Downward Magician, 1 Zeus, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Moon, 2 Sprite Elf, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and 1 Underworld Goddess. Alright, so final thoughts about these decks. I do think Agent Sprite has some teeth. It can very much compete with the meta right now. So the main thing both of these builds provide the Sprite strategy is the ability to go into very powerful, meaty boss monsters that is something Sprite is severely lacking in. While Sprite has the ability to easily interrupt the opponent with stuff like Sprite Red and Carrot, and making things like IP Masquerena and whatnot, all of these monsters are very small, and they struggle to push for game. However, with easy access to stuff like Master Flare and Barone, you can close out games a lot easier. In the same vein, both decks also give Sprite a lot more grind game than they normally have. I would say Sprite as a deck in general doesn't have a amazing grind game considering how popular it is. It has a pretty good one, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you'll be stuck with just maybe 1 Sprite monster left in hand or something like that and your field gets cleared and the deck can't really do much off of 1 card. The ability to go into Majesty Hyperion late game and make a level 10 synchro is just really good. The main difference between the decks, as mentioned, the Venus version is a little bit more combo oriented, but you lack different types of interruption. Alrighty, so that's all I had for today. If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what kinds of decks you'd like to see. I have plenty of Sprite decks floating around. I'm not sure what you guys want to see, but want to request a Sprite combination deck, feel free to do so. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.